The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth nations will be in dismay, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will die of fright in anticipation of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. But when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads, because your redemption is at hand. Beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life, and that day catch you by surprise, like a trap. For that day will assault everyone who lives on the face of the earth. Be vigilant at all times, and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent, and to stand before the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord. I find it interesting that all of the stories about the end of time are about doom and gloom. Even Jesus spoke that way in the gospel. It'll be a time of destruction. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Nations will be perplexed by the roaring of the seas. People will die in fright, anticipating what is coming on the earth. The powers of the heavens will be shaken. I find it interesting because that's in complete opposition to the message of Jesus. We call his message good news because it's about our God who loves us. God created us out of love. God loved us into life. There's nothing we can do to make God stop loving us. God never tires of forgiving us. God loves us so much, he sent his Son to save us and to show us God's way. The message, the good news of Jesus and the message of doom and gloom don't fit together. God, we are here because God loves us. We matter to God. That to me doesn't sound like a God who's watching a timer count down, ready to wipe out everything he created out of love. I just can't fit together the message of doom and gloom and the good news of Jesus. St. Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians is the earliest New Testament writing, coming barely 20 years after the death and resurrection of Jesus. 20 years, written 20 years before the first gospel, the Gospel of Mark. Paul doesn't tell the Thessalonians to keep a low profile and wait for the return of Jesus. Keep your heads down so as not to draw attention to yourselves. He tells them to live lives that draw even more attention to them. Continue to do what you are doing. Abound in love even more. That's the way they will prepare for the coming of Jesus. And that same advice applies to us today. To continue to abound in love. To grow in faith by serving others. To live our faith more deeply and let it be seen in our actions. We don't know how the day of the Lord will come, and we don't know when. It could be a day of frightful signs or a day of peace and fulfillment. It could come soon or it could come far, far in the future. And There's nothing we can do about it. But we can do something about today. We can make today a time to abound in love. We can make today a time to use the opportunities given us to follow the path of Jesus. Then, however the day of the Lord comes, and whenever it comes, we will be ready. But let us remember, we call it the day of the Lord, and we have a God who loves us.